week's episode of WWE Rivals, we jump into the rivalry between Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock.
The Brahma Bull and the Rattlesnake. Oh, hell yeah! Stone Cold Steve Austin.
The Rock says, just bring it.
The Brahma Bull and the Rattlesnake hooking it up here.
These two men, I've always felt, knew who they were and were much more self-aware than I think most people.
The ingredient for success of Stone Cold Steve Austin is very similar to the ingredient for success of The Rock. You got to go out there and continue to be creative, continue to be innovative, and side point, none does it better than The Rock. You know that. You know that, don't you?
Yeah, I know that.
Okay.
To me, like, The Rock was always like a very sleek, you know, he was the Armani guy, he was, you know, and then you had your beer drinking Archie Bunker's stepson on the other side, and it was just a perfect matchup.
Stone Cold versus The Rock, and the beauty of it is it has infinite chapters, which means, Steven, that The Rock will be whipping your monkey ass all over God's green earth.
For me, it was kind of bittersweet because before Stone Cold and The Rock, I was one of the only, like, big wrestling fans in my school. You know what I mean? From elementary school all the way up into high school, some people thought it was cool, some people did not, but it was my thing. And then all of a sudden, Stone Cold and The Rock come on the scene, and now people are giving each other Stone Cold Stunners in the hallway, giving the people's eyebrows, whoa, whoa, this is my stuff. You know what I'm saying? You didn't think that this was cool until these guys.
Just to think, there's going to be 1 billion people out there that's going to get a chance to get a look at the great one, The Rock.
You know, you might not like wrestling, but you were drawn in. You wanted to hear what The Rock had to say. You could identify with Steve Austin. He was out there flipping off his boss. You wanted to flip off your boss. You know what I mean? You could identify with these guys.
Everybody was like, hell yeah, that's what I... And you know what I'm feeling. You know exactly what I'm feeling. And then the same with The Rock. And everybody could relate to him as well.
Rock, I will drag your Rudy Poo candy ass out here and wipe this whole damn arena with your stinking ass.
That's your main event. That is your billion-dollar business right there. The Rock and Stone Cold. Not just because it's Stone Cold, but because it's The Rock.
Damn right, you love that shit.
During probably the most eyeballs that have ever watched professional wrestling, the people wanted to see these two get it on.
Stone Cold Stunner and The Rock is gone.
You hear the reaction of Steve and The Rock. I've never seen anything like that. I mean, it was unbelievable time.
It's all about who's going to be the top man in this business.
You see, I'm for the trouble all the time. For the trouble all the time. For the trouble all the time. Come on, y'all, let's rock, rock, rock. For the trouble all the time. For the trouble all the time. For the trouble all the time. Come on, y'all, let's rock.
Right about now, it's time to get busy. 1, 2, 3, shut the fuck up and bring that ballistic. Rip from the biscuit, straight through the speakers with a hey, hey. Check this future shock, a rock revolution, punk. Oh my God, here it comes, so shut it up. You keep on talking, we gon' shut your ass straight the fuck up. Call the cops, look up in the stands, got another riot on our hands. I pulled this mic straight out my toolkit. The fiction wannabes ruined all the music. But never mind, those phonies never get it. The phonies just deny it, cause rock ain't in the diet. Apocalypse now, who's talking shit now? Give me the countdown. 3, 2, 1.
Stone Cold Steve Austin, which means I gotta get in my pickup truck, drink some Steve Weisers, listen to some Backstreet Boys.
But in closing this interview, and again, I appreciate your professionalism. I know it's not easy. Any closing remarks, Rock, as the champion to the challenger?
Yeah, we could talk about 1 fall, 2 falls, 60 minutes, 60 days. Talk about Deborah being my manager, whose responsibility it is. It's his wife. It's this is happening. It doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is April 1st, WrestleMania 17, the biggest of all time. The Rock and Austin, the biggest of all time. The fact of the matter is this, is I will give you every drop of sweat, every drop of blood, every ounce of energy I have. Win, lose, or draw. you are going to get the absolute best of The Rock at WrestleMania. And there's a reason why they call me The Rock. There's a reason why they call me the most electrifying man the world has ever seen, and all that. And there's a reason why they call me the best. Come April 1, two unstoppable forces will meet. And all questions will be answered.
Steve, we are less than 3 weeks away from perhaps the biggest WrestleMania in the history of the World Wrestling Federation. The main event, Stone Cold Steve Austin challenging The Rock for the World Wrestling Federation Championship. Looking at this strictly as a professional, what does this particular WrestleMania mean to Stone Cold?
Well, it means I did what I had to do to get there. I won the Royal Rumble, which gave me the shot at the champ at WrestleMania. It turns out that the champ is The Rock. So seeing as The Rock is the best, he is the champ, either I go in there and beat him and become the champ, or I get my whipped. It's real simple.
Personally, what does this WrestleMania mean to Steve Austin? Personally.
Well, personally, it's in Texas. Hell, it's my backyard. It's in the Astrodome. I've seen baseball games, football games, and now Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock are in the main event. But the biggest deal to me is it means I'm back. The journey's over. I'm back.
Certainly referring to your spinal surgery last January, your doctors, your family, your friends, perhaps the only person in the world that thought you were going to come back was you. And, you know, a lot of the critics, your critics say, well, yeah, Stone Cold, he's obsessed, JR. Stone Cold is obsessed in becoming the WWF champion again. How do you address those people?
You know, I've always said, if you ain't here to be the World Wrestling Federation champion, you got no business being here. Pretty much that's your answer. You can take it how you want it.
Okay, I'm with you on that. And you win the Royal Rumble. The next month, The Rock goes to No Way Out and wins the WWF title, and the hype begins. Austin and Rock, Rock and Austin, WrestleMania. It's in one sentence. And then it looked like clear sailing was ended when Mr. McMahon reared his head and named your wife, your opponent's manager. Your wife, Deborah, is now managing The Rock. Why would Mr. McMahon do something like that?
Because he's a sorry son of a. It's because Austin versus McMahon lasted well over a year. If you'd think it was over, I beat his so many times, I can't even count it on my own fingers. So you think he'd had enough of Stone Cold, but now he gets a chance to shove it right back at Stone Cold Steve Austin. So that's what he does. He can't deal with me one-on-one. He can't handle Stone Cold one-on-one, so he makes my wife The Rock's manager. Am I happy about it? No. But McMahon is a sorry son of a, and he's still trying to screw with Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Obviously an emotional subject, and rightfully so.
You're damn right.
But Steve, a lot of the Rock's fans don't understand why you stunned the WWF champion Monday night on Raw. They don't get it.
You don't get why I stunned The Rock. I told that man right to his face, walked to his dressing room, walked up to him and said, hey, if you put Deborah in jeopardy, I'm going to whip your ass. He proceeded to go out there, put Deborah in jeopardy, so he got his ass whipped. What part of that, or what part of any fan does not understand that? And I don't care who likes it, who doesn't like it. That was my wife. She was put in jeopardy. Bam! Lights out.
You can only control so much. And after that, it becomes the intangible. And that intangible, what everybody searches for, is chemistry. I knew exactly what he was going to do all the time. He knew exactly what I was going to do all the time. That's just kind of the special thing that you just feel.
Man, it's like watching two comets fly through the sky and hit each other. It never happens.
I think it was the apex. I mean, it was really the peak. And Steve Austin and The Rock were the two hottest stars in the business.
We were fighting for the exact same thing, and that was the #1 top spot in the company at a time where the company was on fire. It's really rarefied air, and we were fighting for that rarefied air, but it was out of so much love and so much respect.
God, it was so fun to watch. Being privileged to see something like that where you have these two big talents coming together. It's a new champion! Man, that was a great ride.
Rock and I never rode the roads together. He ran with a different crowd. But whenever we see each other, it's just like the last time we left off. It's a friendship that is forever.
That was a guy who looked at me and said, you and me, we're gonna go, and we're gonna go to the dance. That decision to take me, if you will, under his wing, it changed my life.
I was cool, which is just having been beaten. That was business.
After the 1, 2, 3, I kind of just sat up, and I really didn't know what I was going to say. I just wanted to say something to him. And after all the years of helping me and bringing me up, because you know you're only as good as your opponent.
He basically said, "I love you, brother," and he appreciated it, and that's what he said to me. And you know, told him I love you too.
That's what I said, yeah. I told him, man, I love you and thank you. I can't thank you enough for everything you've done for me. And I meant that. And he kind of, you know, love you too, man. It was something else. Something else.
It was a hell of a moment. Two guys who had been through so much together, and this is time for us to separate and go down our separate roads. And it was a real emotional moment and a real special moment. And I've always loved The Rock, working with him and all that stuff. So that was real hard to do.
You are looking, ladies and gentlemen, at perhaps two of the greatest, when it's all said and done, that this business will have ever offered you. They gave you everything they had here tonight, in a night that I know in my heart I will never forget as long as I live.
Rock told me what he told me, and he rolled out of the ring. And you know, normally it's the champion that stands there in the ring, and especially after being beat the previous two matches by all rights, it was his time to stay in that ring and to soak it all up. But because it was going to be my last one, he left the ring to me, and a classy thing to do. And I think the people knew.
That's one hell of a proud man who gave us everything he had, every fiber of his being. He laid it out there tonight. Austin saluting these fans here at WrestleMania. There's only one Texas rattlesnake, and there'll never be another like him.
Right then, I was feeling that a 100-pound weight had just been lifted off my back. It was my time to finally be able to take in a breath of fresh air and just relax. And I was looking forward to that. As emotional as that day was, and as hard as it was, that day leading up to that match, and even now, I got a little emotional, you know, because I was thinking about the future. And then, but at that time, that release was like just being able to take a breath of fresh air, and that was relaxation. And it was appreciation for those people giving me the response that they give.
because I've always, whether the good times or bad times, I've always broken my ass, to give everything I got to the crowd. And then they were giving it back to me like they always have. And, that's why, I love my Twitter account. I love my fans. I love being able to keep in touch with them. They supported me through everything that I've been through. Always. They've always welcomed me back. When I f***ed up, they have always forgiven me. They've been there for me, and they were there for me on the last one. And it was just satisfaction and appreciation on my part to them.